Blazers are now 5-5. They've won 5 straight at home. And Dame Lillard, big game for him, 25 points, 6 assists. But for the Lakers, we know LeBron James didn't play. The second game that he's missed, now the Lakers are 0-2 without him in the lineup. However, Jimmy, you're not supposed to come out this flat. We know Anthony Davis exited the game. However, when you still have a Russell Westbrook, when you still have a Carmelo Anthony, you still have plenty of depth, this is not the performance that you expect.
It's not. Anthony Davis only 7 minutes, and we were talking about before the game, can Anthony Davis have one of those Anthony Davis games? Need to rely on him if they want to get this roll win. He went out. But this is the area when you got a Russell Westbrook that you needed him to kind of fill in if LeBron wasn't in, or i.e. if Anthony Davis. But too many times we have seen this from Russ in regards to not valuing the basketball. Then it takes away possessions, empty possessions, where it halts any kind of momentum. And I don't know what's going on right now with Russ. I can't say what's going on in his head, but his play indicates that he's not as comfortable yet. 1 of 13, you got 6 turnovers. He's going to turn down that shot. Guys, Channing, are not going to guard him beyond the three-point line. And when he puts the pressure on right here, this is a shot that he normally finishes.
Right.
But here's the problem right here when he's turning the basketball over. I mean, the Lakers don't have a chance, in particular when you don't have a LeBron or AD in the lineup.
I'll say this.
What?
He needs to slow down a little bit. I know it's hard to say, but they don't have the same spacing as I think he's used to. So even if on that last turnover, he's driving, trying to get something, there's Dwight Howard right there. There's DeAndre Jordan right there. There's Anthony Davis down there. Like, he has to be different this year, and I think he has the capability of doing it. I think even that jump shot, he has to take the shot now so that later on in the season, he's gone through it. Yep. You can't mess with the game. If somebody plays you off like that, you can always work on it, right? You can always work on hitting that three. The pull-up jumper is his spot, especially from that little left-hand elbow. Yeah, I just think they were disengaged tonight. And so for me, I go like this. You crumple this game up because it was some garbage, and you just go on to the next one. But you have to think everyone's gunning for you. So if you don't have some type of anger, you're not seeing the anger from Russ. You're seeing kind of like a step back Russ. Even if even when Russ was down 20, he was still talking mess. I like that Russ. We need that Russ back. Take a second, get your spacing right, get people in the right situation so that you can be successful on the court. Because without you, this team can't win a chip. And without LeBron out there, you are the floor general.
And remember, last year we kind of saw something similar. I know he was injured with the Wizards, but early in the season, and they had some COVID issues, he was still trying to figure it out. And then later in the season, he started to mesh with Bradley Beal, and they figured it out, made it to the play and into the playoffs.
But I'll say this. They gave him the ball. Everyone pretty much got out his way. He went back to Russ and OKC. He can't do that on this team.
Different situation.
It's a very different situation.
But it's the same thing that happened in Houston. Remember, Russ started off a little bit slow. He gathered steam in the second half. James Harden kind of laid back a little bit. But to your point, It was Russ being Russ with the ball in his hands. His usage rate was up. So now he felt more comfortable. And it's going to be interesting because you can't do the same thing when you have an Anthony Davis and when you have a LeBron James. He can't dominate the ball like that.
Yeah, we saw the Houston Rockets go small and ship Clint Capella out. The Lakers ain't trading AD. They're not going to move guys around. Russ is going to have to figure it out. We hope that he does. Now it's time.
Similar question, but when everybody talks about next man up principles when certain guys are out, but over your course of your career, like how do you try to find cohesion in a moment when the rotation's changing so much, and then what are the things you try to fall back on in a new team?
Just playing basketball. I think for the most part tonight we should have we didn't play basketball. We didn't just go out there and compete. We didn't play hard. We've only played in spurts. Those guys came out hitting on all cylinders, especially in that first half to get that big lead. But it's going to be like that. This is part of the game. We don't know who's going to be in there. We don't know. We can't control injuries. We can't control what guys are going through physically. So it is next man up. It sounds cliche, but it is what it is. We still got to go out there and compete.
Yeah, Dwight was saying that you can't make excuses for a situation like that if you want to win, but over the course of your career, have you seen those things sometimes be related, where effort can be tied to uncertainty or?
Yeah, I see it. I mean, it's 19 years. You see everything. You know, I've seen it not once, not twice, but a lot of times where, you know, guys go down and, you know, the guys are trying to search and figure out what they're supposed to do, and, you know, lineups change. But hey, man, that's the luxury of being in the NBA. You just never know what's going to happen. You never know who's going to get injured. You never know when your number is going to get called, and that was the case tonight.
How are you able to? Can you evaluate this team? No LeBron, AD is sick, no none yet, no THD. I mean, how do you evaluate who you guys are right now? Can you even do that?
I mean, you guys gonna do that anyway, but I don't think you can, to be honest with you. But hey, man, it is what it is, bro. It's, you know, we still go out there, we still play, we still, you know, have guys. Some nights we have, you know, full roster. Some nights we don't. But you know, honestly, we really haven't had a full roster, you know, the whole season. Maybe preseason, one game, but as of yet, we haven't had all our guys out there. So it's, you know, we think about that, but when you're out there on the court, it's hard to think about. It's hard to think about that.
We've talked before about you know, your history with Russ. I'm curious, what have you made, you know, obviously his performance tonight, not a good game by Russ's standards, and then his overall fit here these first 10 games and his adjustment?
Well, I mean, we've seen him in you know, some games that we had at home. We've seen him fit right in. We've seen him, you know, lead the charge. We've seen him do what he do, and is in attack mode. And we've seen nights where he hasn't been that. So that's the give and take with Russ. You know, that's throughout his whole career. He's always figured it out. He's always figured out how to adapt, how to make adjustments, what he has to do personally, physically, mentally. You know, we can't control that. That's something that he has. He controls, and only he knows what he has to do. We got to be there just to support him, and that's what we would do.
Carmelo, you talk about just the effort not being there tonight. How much of that do you think was a response to seeing AD have to leave early? And do you guys feel like you handled that as well?
I didn't even know AD left, to be honest. And early in the game, I was looking for him. I thought he went to the back to get taped or something. I didn't know what was going on. I was just so locked into the game. I knew that he wasn't on the bench. He wasn't in the game at one point in time. But I had.
To come back, is that something you were concerned about pre-game, and how did you think that evolved?
Yeah, he was battling the thumb, trying to figure if that was going to inhibit him from playing. And then, you know, he woke up this afternoon with a bit of a stomach bug. Came back in and said the thumb felt pretty good, probably good enough to play, and he went and threw up in the back. Still wanted to give it a go, but by the time tip-off came around, he had already thrown up 4 times. You know, and he wanted to try to, you know, just see if getting out on the floor would change it, but wasn't able to go.
What did you see, especially once he went out, and the different kinds of defenses you were trying to throw out, and just the different personnel groups? What were you trying to get together?
Yeah, we're struggling to contain quick, deep shooting guards. You know, with this year's personnel and you know, the way we like to bring double teams, so we pulled back on it some, and you know, those guys took advantage of it. I mean, before we pulled back on it, you know, we weren't tough enough, you know, with our low man and our rotations, and you know, we weren't containing their guards in the trap well enough. So neither one was happening. We pulled back into our base coverage, and you know, that's risky against shooters like Dame and CJ. And they got going a little bit, and at that point when we were down, we just tried to junk the game up.
Frank, obviously tonight Russ was 1 for 13, and you see the air balls and, you know, shots not, you know, going off the backboard, not hitting the rim. How do you evaluate his performance, not just tonight, but I mean, generally the 10-game marker is a pretty good checkpoint. How tonight, especially, what have you got from him?
Yeah, he's shown flashes of being great for us. You know, we all didn't have a good night. The whole team didn't have a good night, and you know, we got to find ways as a coaching staff to help him and put him in a position to succeed. And you know, it's on all of us, you know, to make sure that happens, make sure he gets comfortable and feels good, about the environment around him, and that's what we're working towards. We're all sticking together. We're all believing in the same thing, and we're going to get through nights like tonight.
Frank, you guys held them to 15 points in the second quarter, kind of got back into it, and I think it was 42 in the third. What was not occurring on the defensive end that needed to?
Well, like I said, we pulled back on our double teams because we weren't executing them well enough, like we haven't been the last few games. So we fell back into some of our base coverages, and Dame's been cold. Dame got hot. That's the biggest thing that sticks out. And obviously you try to, they go on a run, you try to junk the game up again and play a little more zone, and we weren't very good in the zone during that stretch either. So credit the Blazers for playing great.
Are you someone that evaluates your team over the effectiveness of this 10-game stretch, and if so, when you see these first 10 games?
Yeah, I don't keep a 10-game marker. There's a constant evaluation going on all year, and every time this group is in front of us, we learn something more about what they can and can't do, and ways to put them in positions to succeed. That's what our coaching staff is focused on. And tonight we just didn't have enough, didn't play well enough.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay.
Where did you see things start to get away in that first half?
The defensive end. We wasn't enough urgent, wasn't up on screens. Really didn't execute the game plan how we supposed to, and that's why they got away.
Unfortunately, a consistent theme that we've had to talk about is guys going out of the lineup. Yep. Tonight, 6 players not available. Portland has the full roster. You can't use it as an excuse, I know, yep. But how do you try to find some continuity with the guys that are in and out of lineup like that?
Yeah, for sure. When we down like that, that's when we try to build the team chemistry, and not play the wrong way. Keep trying to build trust in guys and just fill each other out. Because we still a brand new team. We still gotta figure each other out, like I said, and it'll happen. It'll happen over time.
There were some moments where Frank had you go into zone defenses, and it seemed like you did have some impact there. What are the keys to remember in those kind of situations when you haven't played like that a lot?
Yeah, for sure. It's still man principles in the zone. So you can't just lose your man. You can't relax like you do in the normal zone in high school and college. We're in the NBA, man. Every team we play is gonna have great players on the other end. You can't treat them like they're not that. So we'll get better at it.
And then finally, Malika, you were able to start to get some looks, actually start to get some shots up. Are you able to form some rhythm or find some rhythm in the fourth quarter like that, even when the score might be getting away?
Yeah, for sure. That's what I tried to do, man. I know down the stretch I can help the team a lot. But like I said, we still a team. We still a new team. We still trying to learn each other. But yes, sir. Try to get